Welcome back to Slothbox. I'm Lyndon Dixon, and yeah, today's a bit of a different video, and it's all about the main man at the minute, one of the hottest, most spoke about names in boxing, Devin the Dream Haney, especially after his performance a weekend or so back now. I mean, it was against Regis Prograis. He moved up in the weight, and he won every single round. He put him down as well, and I think Prograis had the lowest recorded shots in a world title fight, which for me speaks volumes. Not about Prograis, more about Haney, and he nullified Prograis' attack and forced those shots. So for me, yeah, a truly great performance. And when Haney's career is all said and done, that's a performance we're going to look back on and say, wow, he did something special there. I mean, even Prograis said after the fight he was expecting a fight, but nothing near as one-sided as that. And the question that I'm going to ask today is, could Devin Haney be better than Floyd Mayweather? And I know alarm bells are ringing in your head straight away, but I thought that at the weekend after the fight, and then I looked at their records and I was looking at a few certain things. And if you look at Mayweather at Haney's age now, which is 25 years old, there's a lot of interesting parallels and interesting differences between the two's careers. And it will start off with, we're not going to go purely with age, we're going to go by record in terms of comparison. So Haney's currently 31-0 with 15 KOs. And Floyd, when he was 31-0, he had 18 KOs. Now, Floyd was 27 at the time when he had the same record, both 31-0. And before we get into all the details, just talk a little bit about what the two have said about each other. I mean, Floyd, he before his Conor McGregor fight, one of the highest selling pay-per-views in boxing history, even though it wasn't the best boxing match. Yeah, Floyd said that he ended up sparring Haney for a few rounds, just 3 or 4 rounds. He wasn't the fittest at the time, but he said Haney had sharp skills and was a great boxer. But he said anyone could look good in sparring, which is true. It really is true. Can they do it on the night? But recently, especially over Haney's last 5 or 6 fights, maybe even a bit longer than that, he's starting to show that he truly is a great fighter. But is he going to be the best? Is he going to be one of the best? It remains to be seen, but the signs are all leading towards that. Now, Haney's also spoken on Mayweather and the comparisons made between him before, and he said that Mayweather, he feels kind of, to quote Haney, kind of messed up boxing in terms of the way people view their records now. I mean, we all know it's famous that Mayweather ended his career as 50-0, the 50th fight being that McGregor fight, and the O became precious to him. The longer his career played out, the more that meant to him. And being the pinnacle of boxing, when you talk about the greatest, it's him or Muhammad Ali in most people's mouths. So yeah, a lot of those upcoming fighters and fighters today sort of not put themselves on the same pedestal, but they're trying to achieve greatness themselves. And when you're trying to do that, you look up to those greats and the idols in the sport, and Mayweather being one of them. Haney basically said he feels that the way he treat his record and treat his O, people are trying to do the same instead of fighting. They're caring too much about their records. For me, that's quite interesting because Haney, like I say, the comparisons have been there since he made his pro debut. And it's interesting to see his opinion on Floyd. And I mean, let's get into the details of it. Can Haney be better than Floyd Mayweather? Now, there's a few things to look at. Styles, the commercial side of things, and their records, who they've fought. And I mean, if you look now, Haney's fought Linares, Kambosos Jr. twice, Lomachenko, Prograis, and his next fight will be a huge one, whether that's Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia, or even today I saw some crazy shouts of a Conor Benn fight that I'd love to see. Now, Floyd he hadn't done what Haney did. And I mean, Bill Haney said straight after the fight, someone asked him post-fight, what do you think of Mayweather, blah, blah, blah. Can you compare him to Mayweather? And he said that Floyd didn't do at 25 what Devin Haney has done at 25. And I mean, Devin Haney, 2-division champ, he's undisputed at 25. Now, That's a big thing in my eyes, because if you look at Mayweather's record, some of those names that he fought, it's all down to discretion in terms of whether you would... The names I just mentioned, Linares, Kambosos, Loma, Prograis, would, at the time when Floyd was fighting for his world titles, are those opponents the same level as Haney's opponents? No one will ever know. It's purely down to your discretion on what you think. But for me, I don't know. I feel like that makes the argument a lot more interesting. I feel like at the similar stages in their career, Haney's probably been in the tougher fights. Yes, Floyd was moving up weight and stuff like that, but Haney's done that too now. So it goes to show that the comparisons that people are making are starting to make a little bit of sense. Now, if you want to talk about technique and style, this is where the criticism of Haney could potentially come in. And I mean, later on in his career, Floyd was critiqued for the lack of power. You could say that's the easiest way to say it. He was more of a defensive fighter. He would outbox you. He would make you look silly in the ring, no matter who you were, what level you were. I mean, look what he did to Canelo. When Canelo was young, he was the next big thing. And yeah, Floyd certainly set him back a peg or two. So yeah, he had the power before when he was coming up the ranks. But as soon as he moved to welterweight, I think those beatdowns that he was giving people, he said himself, his hands became brittle, too many injuries to his hands in his fight, so he had to completely change his style. He went from, I think in his first something like 20 fights, he had 80% knockouts or something crazy like that. But as soon as those injuries came, he had to change his style. And it's funny how, I've mentioned it before now, the style he changed, it was polar opposites. But because of that style change, being the defensive master, it's made him the greatest, arguably, of all time. Now, the way Haney fights now, he fights like Floyd did when Floyd had the injuries, when Floyd couldn't use that power anymore. Haney's only 25. Yeah, he's got 15 knockouts in those 31 fights, but that's a big criticism of Devin Haney from the boxing public, is he hasn't shown that power at the elite level. Yeah, he got the knockouts and on the come up, 10-0, 11-0, but has he really got that in the locker? Yeah, he looked great against Prograis moving up. He put him down and rocked him throughout the fight, but is he going to do that in every fight? Is he going to finish these people clinically? Because if not, he's certainly not as exciting as a fighter as Mayweather was. Now, we can talk about styles, we can talk about knockout ratios until we run out of breath, but at the end of the day, it's about whose hand gets raised. And recently, Devin Haney has been, I mean, bar the Lomachenko fight, which was a close call. People thought Haney didn't look as good as he could have. He's been outboxing people in almost every one of his last 5 or 6 fights, which is similar to what Mayweather did nearly all of his fights post those injuries. So, yeah, if you talk about what Haney's got to do to be better than Floyd, I mean, Floyd went on, so they're both 31-0. From then, Floyd went on to have 18 more. He had 19 more fights. 18 of them were title fights. Haney, for me, unless something drastic happens, it's going to be the same path. Every single fight will be a meaningful fight, a blockbuster, a record-breaking pay-per-view of sorts. I mean, straight after his fight against Prograis, Ryan Garcia jumped on Twitter, I want that fight. Rolly Romero jumped on Twitter saying, sure, I'll take that fight. The next day, Devin Haney called out Tank Davis. Today, Tank Davis has said, sure, I'm free, let's do it. Haney said, say no more. Conor Benn's come out and said, I would like that fight with you, Devin. Devin Haney's dad, Bill Haney, has said, the Ben name is boxing royalty, and we'd be honoured to take part in such events. So that fight for me, if you said that a week ago, that yeah, one of Haney's next fights could be Conor Benn, I would have laughed at you. But seeing that, it really seems like something that could genuinely happen in the next year or two, depending on this whole Ben Eubank situation. But that is another video. But my point is, Haney, every fight now, if he wants to emulate or surpass Floyd's legacy and just general reputation, every fight has to be a meaningful fight. Because if you look pretty much from 31-0, I was looking at the records, that's when Floyd started to have those meaningful fights. Now, Devin's already been in those. He's already been in about 5 or 6 of those. So for me, he's got to carry on that that form, just the performances he's got to carry on doing what he's doing. And me being a big fan of Devin's, I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. But the most important thing is, what do you think? Comment down below. Do you think Devin Haney could ever be better than Floyd? Or is that simply a pipe dream? And it's a question I shouldn't have even asked. But either way, whether you agree with me, disagree with me, let me know. What does Devin need to do? Will he ever reach that? Maybe not. But I feel like it's an exciting question, and it's a question I can't wait to see the answer to in the coming years. But anyway, I've been Lyndon Dixon. Do not forget to like, subscribe, tell a friend, and take it easy. We will see you on the next one.